Thursday, 7 o'clock, you have the Garnet and Old Show. No inside info. No contacts, no problem. I'm Big Papa Ironclad Eastman. I'm going to change it every week. That is Vincent Ciccarelli. Vince, how are you?
I'm doing good, Ryan. I need a call sign. You are ironclad, Big Papa
Mm-hmm.
East. Big Daddy still got it, apparently.
Yeah.
You got all this stuff. I don't have all that. But what I do have is I have all the information that you could ever possibly want to know about some offshore fishing in Panama City Beach.
Well done. Transition
Courtesy,
like a pro.
courtesy, courtesy of our good friend, Captain John Black. Captain John Black is the captain of the Black Magic, and I think he
Mm.
has another charter boat as well. I can't remember. Maybe the Lady Black or
That was
something
my
like
nickname
that.
in college.
Yeah. But anyway, you can go out to Panama City Beach. You can call Captain John Black, and you can get some offshore fishing done with him. The last few posts I've seen from him have just been a plethora
Mm.
of fish. So not only are you going to have a good time, but you're actually going to be productive as well. Give our buddy Captain John Black a call.
What else is productive is our new subscriber count, which you can be a part of if you like and subscribe to the Garnet and Old Show. Become a member, all the fun stuff. And also, Vince,
Yeah,
we are climbing, my friend. The
we are
topic
climbing.
du jour, the creme de la creme. I honestly, 4 days ago was like pleasantly surprised, but now getting into it, the wins just keep stacking up for Mike Norvell and company on the recruiting trail. So a ton. Here's what I'm going to do, Vince.
Oh man.
I'm going to read them all the commitments in the last week, and
Yeah.
then we'll go piece by piece.
Yeah, let's actually set the table. This is called setting the table, Ryan. Just
Yeah.
give us the 30,000-foot view of everything that's occurred in terms of recruiting for the football team in the last, let's say, 10 days.
I'm going to do just 7, just from our last show.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
So, in total, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 4-star commitments in quarterback Jaden O'Neal, Devin Carter, Xavier Tiller, Jacoby Green. He's the 3-star. Jay Timmons, and today Jason Lopez. And adding to that list, Luke Francis, who is that gigantic foreign-born big boy Haas
He is
for
a
the
big
offensive
one.
line.
He is a big one.
So that's a lot of recruits, and we are now jumping up into the number 8 slot in the 247 Sports 2026 team rankings with the likes of Georgia, Ohio State, those kind of teams
Mm-hmm.
right there.
Mm-hmm.
We are now only one step behind Clemson. And what's funny is, Vince, on the list, I think, isn't it 3 in a row? Like it's Florida State, Florida, and Miami. I'm like, this is like 1995 again or something like that.
Yeah, I think Miami, well, it depends on which site you look at. Miami is still like a spot or two ahead of us.
Yeah,
Florida is quite a bit behind. But there's still some fish out there, Ryan.
there
Um,
are.
and you don't need to get a charter boat to do that. You can just, you know, choose to climb. Choose to climb, and you
Yeah.
can be in the boat.
Vince, have you ever been laying in bed and you see an
Yes.
amazing deal and you don't want to get out of bed? So instead, you hop on the X platform and you're surprised because something makes you hop out of your bed with excitement and actually changes what you were going to plan to do for the rest of the night. That's what Jaden O'Neal's commitment did for me. Now, I was under the weather.
Yeah. You
I
weren't
was
feeling
feeling
good.
I wasn't feeling good. Not a flu, but just a normal head cold. I feel much better the last 2 days. But when I saw that first commitment, the most important commitment, I would say out of this bunch, that's arguable. There's other big ones. We're going to talk about them all. But when I saw Jaden O'Neal commit, and flipping from Oklahoma, right, to, by the way, top quarterback prospect in the state of Oklahoma, to Florida State's roster. And Vince, it is well documented by you and I on this show of the struggles of one Mike Norvell to get quarterbacks in mass and then to develop them. Now we'll start to see that, and Gus Malzahn will have a lot to say about that. But when it comes to fit, Jaden O'Neal just seems right for the offense that we're planning to run, and I do appreciate the handing over of the keys picture that he took.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So, Vince? What is your thoughts when you saw that commit coming down? What were your immediate feelings?
Well, we kind of had some vibes that it was going to happen, and there's I also pay attention to Jason Watkins, College Football Hall of Fame is his show. Um, he's a Sooner. He's really plugged in. He's very reasonable. He's well tempered, and he's got connections with that family. And so I had been paying attention to that leading up to this. So uh, kind of already knew, kind of the writing was on the wall that the Oklahoma commitment wasn't going to stick. So the question was going to be like, is Florida State going to be the place? And as the momentum continues to go toward that, I'm getting excited because this kid's the real deal. He can make all the throws. He is a student, the student of the game.
Yep.
He has just a great support system around him, and the reason why I know that is because I watched an interview with him on that show, where not only he was on the show,
Hmm.
but his handler, but his coach was his high school coach was on the show,
Yeah.
and his agent slash representative was on the show as well. And let me just tell you, it was refreshing to see someone, because we hear about all these stories that are
Yeah.
the kids are being pushed and pulled by all these outside forces, and they don't always have the best intent for the kid.
Yep.
What Florida State is getting in this kid is not only him and what he's bringing to the table, but the support system around him is impressive. It's really impressive, and it's something that will be refreshing to all the Noles that are out there. If you pay attention to that stuff, before too long, you're going to start hearing about uh, Jaden's dad, who is also a top-notch guy. He was actually commenting on the show, and so I'm looking forward to getting to know not only him but his family as well as they become a part of the Knoll family. He is. We struck gold, and I want to thank the Oklahoma staff for going a different direction. After they had a staff change, Jaden O'Neal was all Sooner. I mean, it's his family moved from California to
Yep.
Oklahoma to be closer to the program and play high school there. And so the Sooners get a new staff in, or some new staff folks in, and they decide they want a different quarterback than Jaden. To Norvell and his staff's credit, they never relinquished. Like, they were constant with him. And so when that opportunity came up, it was just a natural fit.
Absolutely. And I mean, I'm just happy to have a quarterback in the class because Vince, I don't know about you, but I mean, it would be foolish to not consider that two wide receivers and one tight end that committed after him were a direct reflection on a quarterback committing. It has to be. So when you see Jaden O'Neal, and then within consecutive days, it feels like Devin Carter Xavier Taylor and with Jason Lopez. Yeah, I wouldn't join a class as a wide receiver unless I knew who the quarterback that was going to be with me is. So
Yeah,
it feels like it all kind of kicked off this like big boom
there's no
with
doubt
a
about it.
quarterback.
There's no doubt about it. And I think, as we were lamenting, when you said the well documented uh, conversations we've had about the quarterback room, like the well lamented conversations we've had. And, but we both said once we get, if we get the right person
Yep.
that makes the commitment, wide receivers and skill players are just waiting to know that the person that is going to be leading the charge is someone that they can count on, that they can connect with, that's going to be able to help them be better as well. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what happened. When you mentioned at the beginning of the show that there are other big fish out there and maybe some bigger than Jaden, I don't know that there is one bigger than Jaden.
Yeah.
There might be one out there that's got more stars than Jaden, but as
Yeah.
far as like the nucleus of putting a spark under this class, it's no bigger than that. It's no bigger than
It's the
Jaden,
biggest.
and I can't. I'd love to have Jaden come on the show, and I'm going to effort to make that happen because I was so impressed with him and the way he presented himself and the way he talked about. Like he didn't shy away from the questions about the Oklahoma thing. I mean, he handled it all like a pro.
Yeah, and we're going to talk more about comments from another quarterback later in the show that stirred the pot quite a bit. But let's continue on with some of the commitments. Vince, I love when I saw a picture of Luke Francis. Uh,
He's your kind of people.
yeah, he's my kind of people. I know it's the offensive line, but you get that Bjorn Warner vibe that, oh my God, this guy's built like a house.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't want him to be blocking me if I'm any other team. And what I like about him the most, Vince, it's not like a transfer portal one and done. His
Oh yeah.
body's 6'5", 6'5", 335 pounds, and he's gonna be a freshman. That's a big
That's
boy.
that is absolutely crazy. I'm always one to bring up on this show the types of vibe that I was hearing and seeing on the socials as his commitment came about. I I, I watched that. I like to get a pulse, as it were.
Yeah,
And the socials. There's quite a few negative people out there, and um, they were basically downplaying this as like, man, Norvell, can't even get people from this country.
yeah.
So, but I will
Because that
say,
commitment happened before Jaden O'Neal, right? I believe.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So the negativity, but I will say the negativity, you can hear a pin drop right now on social media as far
yeah,
as people that are, talking about what Norvell can't do.
yeah.
Um, I
I've
know, and
actually,
Ryan, we still have to see wins happen. We all know
of
that.
course, yeah, yeah.
But you wouldn't want to be anywhere else than what is happening right now in June. You think about a month ago where we were. Yeah, you can't ask for more from this staff as
Yep.
of right now.
Based on just pure numbers and the time frame, it's the most lucrative Mike Norvell's recruiting class has been in one short period since his first recruiting cycle.
Yeah, yeah,
And one thing I do appreciate, because hey, when you call them out for bad things, you got to point out the changes that are happening. And I appreciate Ira Schafel tweeting out every time one commits that how few teams around the country have the same blue chip ratio as
yeah.
Florida State.
Only
Um,
5.
and same as I'm going to point out that you only have 39 minutes to help us get to our super goal of
I
5
forgot to
super
bring it
chats
up.
or $25 in super chats. Help
Ryan,
us get there. Help us pay
I
the
w-
bills.
help us pay the bills. I was so excited about this recruiting to talk about. I totally forgot about the Super Bowl. But how do people do the super chats, Ryan? They need to know that.
Yeah, you need to be on YouTube. You need to be signed in with a Google account, and you probably need to have a Google Wallet account, essentially, your payment in there, and then just go in the chat, hit the little money button, and that guarantees, well, if you bring up a comment or question and you super chat it, we'll talk about it here on the Garnet and Old Show. We appreciate you helping us keeping the lights on, ladies and gentlemen. But the show goes on, Vince, because let's hit the wide receivers next. Devin Carter, right? Legacy. Dexter Carter, right?
Yeah.
Happy to get a legacy. Happy always to get a legacy. Now, I, we've had a tough run, I feel like, of legacies working out. But I never like to look at these things as trends. It's just a observation simply. But it could work out amazing. And then today, the wide receiver that the University of Miami fans were absolutely destined to come to the University of Miami. They said, "Hey, he's a Cane for life. He's in Miami, right?" Well, no. He's
Dama Madonna.
he's coming to Tallahassee, and he even put from the 305 to the 850, and I was like, "My man, come and get it." And then to round out, it's not a wide receiver, but will probably be used as a wide receiver quite a bit. Tight end Xavier Taylor, former Texas A&M commit, which by the way, their class is insane right now. Like,
Yeah.
of course. Still, man, Jimbo leaves and they just keep on. That money is just flowing.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's leading the charge there. The money is going to flow. So.
Yeah, and what I appreciate about that one, he was committed to Texas A&M, of course, a lot of NIL money in Texas A&M, but he chose FSU over Auburn and Alabama. So that'll get it done. What do you think about? I mean, these all followed immediately after Jaden O'Neal committing.
Yeah.
It's impossible. We talked about already to not see the connection, but man, I feel like we've gotten DBs for days, for years. We've gotten even some big defensive linemen for years, offensive linemen, but we've always I feel like not really dominated in the wide receiver room.
Yeah. No,
what a change.
What a change. This wide receiver haul as of now is maybe top 3 in the country. I mean, they're all 4 stars. And Tim Harris is earning his money. He's earning the paycheck. Devin Carter, if you folks remember, if you've been playing along for a while, Devin Carter was committed to the Noles, last year, and then last year happens, and in terms of the season, and maybe the staff isn't recruiting quite like they should, which it's looking like that's probably the case, considering what's happening with this staff. And Devin Carter, I think, just needed a reason to go to Florida State. He needed a reason to go where his dad went. I mean, these kids, and you'll hear them, if you've watched the videos of them, you'll hear them talk about it. I grew up around the Noles. I since I was born, I've been coming here, and it was always my dream to come here. So you just have to give them the reason. And it looks like right now, we have given these legacies the reason they need to try to, further the legacy of their name here in the Garnet Gold.
Yeah, and that reason is a quarterback. Big arm, right? I've watched the highlights. Jaden O'Neal, big arm. Mobile. I would say mobile, not so much in a Johnny Manziel way, but more mobile. I would compare him to getting out of the pocket, almost like a Russell Wilson. How he wouldn't run to run. He ran to stay in the pocket, move around, and buy himself time to make a throw downfield. So he does that really well. I think he's less of a pure runner than Thomas Castellanos, who we'll get to some fun TC stuff here in a minute. But it's just fun to see wide receivers commit. And like you said, Vince, I actually want to give credit to an unheralded hero in this whole recruiting process, which I refuse to believe has not made a massive difference in the efforts.
Me?
Maddie McCormack.
Oh, Yeah.
director of football recruiting operations. For those of you who don't know, came from North Carolina
Hmm.
over this past spring, and she is well known and well regarded with being really good at like a personalized approach on scheduling, getting guys on campus. Very approachable, easy to talk to. Just I'm telling you, when you have a person reaching out to you to try to get you to come on site, schedule, book it, man, it's much easier if you feel comfortable with someone and they're friendly and you're like you feel like they're a real person than if you had some, I don't know, robotic sounding person who maybe wasn't as natural. She had I can tell you that that position was critical, and I feel like she's actually made a huge difference in scheduling.
Yeah. You think about the life that these recruits and their families live. Like it's constant. You're being constantly texted or called, and then you are, are you coming on a visit? And then there's a lot of logistics involved with that, and but you don't want it just to be a cattle call, right? So you have somebody that has the logistical mind and also has the emotional intelligence mind that is able to interact with people and make them feel welcome and make them feel unique
And
and
organized when they get
and
here.
and organize when they get here. And it's like it's simple, and it's almost like it's like the recruits and their families don't have to think, right?
And the
And
biggest
so,
example of this, Vince, is back when Willie Taggart was here.
oh,
All those
it
reports of
was always
guys
like that.
standing outside the Moore Center, like,
Wondering who was going to pick them up.
yeah, what entrance do I go to? Who's like, where am I supposed to go? And that's the
Where,
worst feeling when you're going anywhere outside of your hometown. You never want to land in another city for like I just went on a quarterly visit, right? To my I would have been lost. Like I got to the building, but which suite is it? Like, how do I get into the door? If someone hadn't pre set me up right with like, here's what to do, here's what it looks like, hit the button, walk you through all that stuff, you feel like you're not being actually appreciated. You feel actually
yeah,
disrespected if that doesn't happen.
yeah.
And Maddie has been, I think, on top of it because you've just seen the flow in which the visits have happened just seem more stable.
Yeah, so it's fascinating to me. And maybe we should try to get her on the show. It would be amazing because it's fascinating to me if you think about it like a one-on-one thing. Like I'm the recruiting coordinator, or I'm in charge of that, and I need to get, this recruit and their family to Florida State, and you just schedule the things that they want to see and all that kind of stuff. But also, it's not just that. Like, I also want to think about, well, maybe these other recruits would be good for them to be here at the same time, right? And coordinate, so it's not a
Quarterbacks and
one,
receivers. Yeah.
it's not a one-to-one, it's a many-to-many.
Hmm.
And and I can imagine she's, the meme of the guy with the red yarn
Yeah.
behind him, like trying to figure out all the mapping out of all this stuff. Um, what a what a stellar, kickoff to her career here. And I'm sure it's not just her, and she would probably tell you it's not just her. But from her and who's ever involved with her staff and the planning and the coaches themselves. I mean, she keeps the coaches up to date with everything they need to be doing. Um, it's a machine, and it's again refreshing, Ryan, to know that Florida State is operating at that kind of level.
Yeah. I do want to answer or get to a question here by R. Wilmer. Thanks for joining, first of all. Mr. Wilmer, is the wide receiver current success credited to the trio, Mike, Gus, and Harris, or is it more of the Harris effect? So my take on this, Vince, I think it's you can always say Mike Norvell gets credit because he hired the staff, but I would find it hard to believe that the newfound success has anything to do with him being any different himself directly. Because I think Mike Norvell, first year versus this year, like same guy, human being, personality. I don't think Mike has drastically changed who he is or how he probably approaches people or anything like that. That's my best guess. So you have to assume a larger um, part of, especially with all the recent offensive commits. That's a difference lately.
Yeah.
Has to go. I would give 60-40 to Gus, because listen, you could love your position coach, and God knows we've all been frustrated the last couple of years with the wide receiver coach, right? Um, but usually it's the offensive and defensive coordinators that if people don't like that person, they're not coming.
Yeah.
So you have to give credit to Gus Malzahn that he's at least pitched a vision of what these players could look like in that offense. Now, of course, Harris is relatable, right? And that does go a long way. And so, but the thing is, even if he was amazing 10 out of 10, Harris was, the most amazing recruit ever, but Gus Malzahn was terrible, you wouldn't have the kind of success you're having. So I think it's like both of them are equally responsible, but maybe a slight edge to Gus.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I want to say it a little bit of a different way, and that is, you're right. I think Mike is Mike, and Mike is a good recruiter. Is he an elite recruiter? I'm not sure.
No.
He's probably good to great, but I don't know if
He's
he's elite.
he's a solid B plus.
But if you look at the failures of the past, you got to remember that these guys that were on the staff before, their job is to lay the groundwork and get the foundation firm enough
Mm-hmm.
that when Mike gets involved, and when he does get involved, that is literally icing on the cake.
Closing time.
It's closing time. And I don't I just, at least for now, it looks like, compared to this year, the staff in the past was not laying firm foundations. So it didn't even matter what Mike would do, because there were cracks in the armor, even before Mike got involved. So
Yep.
I think it's the combination. It's the whole. It's the
Yeah.
whole, and
I,
and that's kind of the way I view it.
I compare this, Vince, to we've all been in interviews, me probably more recently than like you, but interview situations in which you go home and your wife asks you, "Hey, how did it go? Right? How's the interview?" And you're like, "I met these three people, and I've had interviews where I say the first two are, yeah, I mean, they could be fine people. I mean, I didn't like hit it off with them. The owner seemed really nice, but who are you going to be working for mainly day to day?"
Right.
The manager, in this
Yeah.
case, the position coaches and the coordinators. And so even if the owner, in this case Mike Norvell, the CEO of the program, is incredible and man, you love the energy, at the end of the day, you will see him in certain areas doing certain things, but you're not going to be going every day to war with that guy. You're going to be going to war with your hiring manager, in this case, the coordinators. And so I think because all these are glorified interviews, the players interviewing the
Oh yeah.
teams
Yeah.
essentially, and you really want them to vibe with the coordinators, because those are basically your managers. People join companies and leave companies because of their manager. That's the equivalent. Now, if your manager was amazing that you met, but the CEO seemed like an a-hole, you know, you might be like, I don't.
Yeah.
They seem nice, but how long is it going to last? With
How long
are
is it
they?
going to last?
How
Yeah.
long are they even going to be here? Because that guy seems like a piece of work. So what you
Yeah.
need for this to be successful, like it is in the last month, is all hands being like, that was a good experience. No, I liked everyone I met. I
Yep.
feel better about signing an offer letter. That's really what we're trying to do here.
Yeah. No, that's a good analogy, because you're right. You are going to deal with your position coach and your coordinator more, but ultimately, the tenor of the program comes from the head coach. So if that guy is, like you said, a piece of work, you have to consider not making that call for sure.
Yeah. Now, that kind of wraps up the current commits, but we have other kind of transfer updates and some other. One thing I did want to, one kind of disappointing thing is Aaron Thomas, who is also a legacy, did pick Ohio State over the Knowles. You can't be mad about it. It's
Yeah,
Ohio State, guys. I mean, they're on top of the world right now, right? So I don't think I would hold any recruit. I don't care who they are and where they come from and how much they love Florida State. If they chose Ohio State right now, I would
yeah,
say congratulations, young man. That's a wise pick. That's what I would tell
Yeah,
that young man. A
yeah,
3-star too.
and you're not going to get all the legacies just because we've gotten a handful of them recently doesn't mean you're going to get them all. And
Right.
also just because they're a legacy is not going to mean they're great anyway. So, um, but yeah, Ryan, before we switch gears,
Oh no, I got a
let's
few more recruiting items.
okay. Well, I want to make sure we shout out some folks in the chat.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Let's finish up the recruiting and then we'll go to that before we go on to TC.
Okay. Yeah.
So I do want to mention, keep an eye in the next 2 weeks on Tadarius Hughes. He's been committed to Florida State for a long time. Safety, 4-star. But Vince, this is never a good sign when they schedule visits with other schools. Now, it doesn't mean that they're leaving, but it means that they're still open to being convinced. Now, their visits are with Nebraska and Syracuse, so I'm not horribly nervous. It's not, hey, they're visiting Bama next week. It's
Yeah.
Nebraska and Syracuse. So just keep an eye on that one. And then we are waiting to hear about Chauncey Keenan, 4-star from top 50 national crew. And we're just waiting on his announcement, which we hear is coming soon.
And the linebacker, which I know a lot of people don't think there's
Oh,
really
Jay
much of a
Timmons.
no. Xavier Griffin, is it Xavier
Oh, yep,
Griffin?
yep, 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 yep.
There are a lot of people that think that there's not really much of a chance there, but I think there is. And if that happens, even if it doesn't happen, if Florida State plays the way as well as we think they can play this season, and I mean 8-4, 9-3, that recruitment's not going to be over.
All right, let's shout out Bob's 410. I do want to say this because
Yeah,
I was in Panama City this past
yeah.
weekend and took a different boating excursion. Parked right beside my boat was Captain Black. So
Two vote.
the
Yeah,
mistake was going on a different excursion other than Captain Black.
yeah. So Bob's 410. Thank you for that comment. That's awesome, and I'm curious whether you are going to do it again and hit up Mr. John Black, or did you see them before they left in the morning, or when they were coming back with the massive haul of fish?
I also want to shout out William McMillan, says Go Knowles in the chat. Wait, what? Says Jason Lopez committed today. And yes, we covered that here earlier in the show, but welcome aboard. Wait, what? I
Wait,
do like.
what?
Wait, what?
No, you did that. Wait,
Huh?
what?
What? Get it, girl. Go. Sorry, that's a TikTok thing going right now. Willie McMillan, Syracuse is going 6-6. I agree,
Uh,
but
yeah,
we
that'd
are
be a good.
probably too. No, I'm just kidding.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Hey, I kid, I kid.
Hey. This is a positive show.
Yeah,
We are trying to be positive here. And I think we're doing a pretty good job of it.
yeah,
Don't forget, folks, if you're looking to support the show, there's a number of different ways you can do it. We have our goal that we have each week, which is 5 super chats on YouTube or $25. And you can also, I'll throw this up here real quick too. You can also do a membership to Garnet and Old, and or you could Venmo us as well.
sure.
Why do we have Venmo, Ryan? Why?
Because we get more money out of it because Google doesn't take a massive share of it. But
That's right.
I
That's right.
understand the barrier of entry is easier on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube makes it really easy. That's for sure.
Now, I'm surprised. I'm actually, for how long we've been doing the show, I think the largest one-time super chat we got was $50. And Vince, I don't know if that will ever get beaten. The $50 was a one-time thing, and I don't know that anyone else currently watching the show can beat that. We hope someday maybe, but we'll
I
appreciate
want
even
to.
$5.
I want to uh, elevate this endeavor, Ryan, to warrant larger than $50 chats. Maybe we're not warranting it yet, Ryan. But like I mentioned earlier in the show, I'm going to be efforting to get some guests on the show that would that the folks would love to hear from.
This is a perfect transition from William McMillan giving us $3 and saying Go Noles beat Alabama.
Thank you, William McMillan.
Absolutely. Thank you, William. And you transition us perfectly to talking just about beating Alabama.
Yes, because
So,
that's all we do anymore is talk about how we're going to beat Bama. Because Ryan, uh, Gene Stallings is not walking through that door.
so Vince, I texted you earlier this week about Thomas Castellanos. We're going to get into all the quotes. I have a list of them. But all I had read at that moment, because I was at work, was the one quote,
Yeah.
hey, they don't have Nick Saban to save them. I don't see them stopping me. That's the quote I read because it was all over social media. And what's interesting is when I read that quote by itself, I was like, we didn't, did you really have to? But can I be honest with you, Vince? When I went back and read the entire interview,
Hmm.
I actually like everything now.
Yeah.
So I like it because all I got to see last year, unfortunately, for a majority of the season, was DJU doing this. All right. What I need is a little moxie. I need right now. I think what Florida State needs, maybe not the drugs, but a little Johnny Manziel, a little dramification, a little heart pounding and pointing to people. I think we need that, and some in the past, including us, would have called this the fake Miami confidence. Well, I want Vince the faux Florida State conference where we go 5-0 and we're thinking, hey man, we're gonna win a national championship. Because then then you might lose two in a row, and it was a little premature. But it's better than 2-10. And after watching all year of no one on the team last year, nobody showing anything other than flat emotion, after reading the whole interview, I was ready to be like, yeah, you know what? Middle finger to the air. I was like gonna grow my hair out like Kid Rock.
Hey, Knowles, listen, Knowles, would you rather it be the opposite and just
Yeah.
like, well, I don't know, we'll see what happens, or not say anything at all, or just, the generic, speak, the vanilla stuff that you typically get leading up to a game? Um, Remember, back in the 90s, there were constant chirping going on from the team and from the teams we were playing toward us. There was constant chirping going on, and we always say, it's bulletin board, material and all this other stuff. It doesn't matter. I will say that it's not going to matter. What he said doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because if Florida State's going to win that game, it's not going to be because of what he said. And if we're going to lose that game, it's not going to be because of what he said. So the only thing that's different, after he makes the comments that he makes, is if you spend any time on social media, then as a Knoll fan, you're going to have to wear a little bit if we lose that game. You just are, but you were going to wear it anyway.
Yeah.
So what's the difference?
The one thing that could cause this kind of quote to be a reason that you win the game, Vince, is the belief and the emotion behind it that caused him to give these statements, Vince, can have an effect on the game and the team. So if you have a guy that's kind of like Vince, I've always preferred quarterbacks to be a little diva. Like I like a
Yeah.
diva quarterback. I like a Jameis Winston. That's my. I was always very bored with, like, as much as I loved EJ Manuel and Christian Ponder, and I appreciate their games that they won.
Their professionalism.
Yeah, they're a little. Listen, nothing wrong with it, and if you win, I really don't give a damn how you act, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but every now and again, I need someone to jump on a table and yell some obscenities. You know,
Yeah.
every now and
Yeah.
again, I like a little, guys. I was say what you will about him post college football, but I love the money sign Johnny Manziel when he was out there torching Alabama. Okay, because when I'm playing EA Sports college football, that's what I'm doing when I'm playing the game. Is I'm standing up, I'm pointing, and I'm saying, "There you go, baby. There you go."
I've seen you do it. I've seen
Yeah,
you playing the game where you score a touchdown and you get up out of your seat, you rip your shirt off and
yeah,
start doing the chunk.
yeah,
So I've seen it happen. So you're even taunting people that aren't there.
yeah. So I think that belief and the kind of people around him, the some of the people you saw in the interviews this week, in the wide receiver room, I think there's going to be a little juice. I think there's going to be a little belief, and sometimes that belief can help you partially get back to where you want to be on quick fast starts. Sometimes,
Yeah.
now who knows if it holds up, but there are a
TC,
few
hey,
other.
Ryan, TC is not lacking in confidence.
No, no, not at
And
all. And
and that's, you want that. You absolutely want that. And pair that with the staff that we have that is, at least from what we've heard, they're pretty on point about, this is the way we're going to run this, and everybody's got to know their job, and they've got to know the job you need to do, because that's
yeah,
the way this thing's it's going to hum. It's going to be fine-tuned machine. It's going to be all this stuff. And you couple that with the confidence, I got no problem with it. I smiled when I saw it,
yeah,
and I don't have any problem with it. So bring it
yeah,
on, because I do think he has the ability to affect that game in a big way.
yeah. He's got a little. His personality reminds me a little bit of Cam Ward, um, mixed with like maybe a little Shador, a little bit more like lean a little Shador. But
Hmm.
listen, those guys won in college.
Yeah,
If they want to do the, all that stuff, listen, I'm for it this year. I want excitement. I want a little juice. I want to go into the
yeah.
games and let's be a little obnoxious this year. Now, there's two quotes I want to read, Vince. One of them I love, and I was like, that made me laugh. And one of them I hated. Okay, first of all, I loved all the quotes about uh, Bill O'Brien and confirming that he's essentially an a-hole, and it
Right.
was never going to work. But I like hearing the one I like is I've got the best weapons in the ACC period,
Yep.
because that makes your weapons feel like he believes, like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we're good, we got this, and that's what we need. The
Yep.
one I hated was
Of
I'm here to save
course.
jobs.
I'm here to save jobs. Yeah.
Oof.
Um, he's being honest, I
Yeah,
guess. I
it's
mean, so
reality. I
it's
mean,
reality, and but it's not just him that's here to save jobs, right? It's not just him, and that's the kind of nuance that is missing from that quote. So yeah, I didn't like hearing that one either, and but as a whole, um, it gives us something to talk about. And imagine, Ryan. So let's just look in the future a little bit.
mm,
It's August
it's hot.
30th. It's midnight, or it's 11:30 p.m. and you and I are on Madison. Matter of fact, we're going to Madison's social, because we just beat Bama.
Yeah, if we lose, we're in a car.
Yeah, no, we are with the masses. We are with the masses as we parade through College Town, and people are throwing streamers and beers and toilet paper and everything else, because Tommy Castellanos and the boys have basically made good on his quote.
Yeah, and
Imagine that.
I imagine it every night when I go to bed. Um, Here's the thing: I we've watched a lot of Florida State wins, but it's you remember how more exciting it was. Like we had Jordan Travis. Jordan Travis was Jordan Travis. Would you say the final 3 years? Like you started to see it on his second year after
Yeah,
McKenzie Milton, and he made some electric plays. The record wasn't where we need to be, but it's because the team wasn't there. And then you have the 10-win season, right? And we all love that one because you can really see the confidence building. But even though he didn't run nearly as much his final year, the bravado when he threw a touchdown, pounding his chest and talking, went from like he never did it to, oh, I do it every time we score.
yeah, but he wasn't over the top though.
No, but
But but you
here's what I'm going to say.
you could see it.
But I think a lot of that energy from him is because you had guys like Keon Coleman who are that guy. Keon Coleman loved to talk. Keon Coleman
Yeah,
loved for you to know what's about to happen. And when you have one guy on the team that's like that, it kind of I feel like it brings up everyone else's energy and like level of competition. The Jalen Ramseys of the world, right? The
Yeah.
old sassy people probably hated playing against him, but man, did he make everyone on that team probably that much more competitive and that much more want to beat the other team's ass. You
Well,
know?
because it raises the bar. It raises the bar for I made those quotes, and I'm gonna do what I need to do to make sure I can back up those quotes. You have the ability as well, all of you, but in order for this to work, you all need to be doing what you need to be doing to make sure you can elevate yourself so when August 30th comes, that we can execute in a way that the talent warrants. The talent warrants winning that game, Ryan.
Oh, it
It
does on the front
does.
line. Yeah,
It does.
yeah,
So the question is whether they're going to be able to put a full 60-minute game together.
yeah, and more than that, Vince, the offense lends itself to the first game of the year. We've watched a lot of college football. Vince, you've been doing it even longer than I have. You're the old part of the Cardinal, but I mean, I started in full watching a lot of college football, like starting in like mid '90s, right? So it's a long time, and you even before that, we've seen a ton of Labor Day games, Labor Day weekend games, and the teams that upset are the teams that have a mobile quarterback that have kind of I'm going to be frank, kind of a gimmicky ish offense.
Not prototypical, yeah.
Not a pro offense who the other team seems like they're out of breath and like confused. Like everyone's kind of like pointing, like, well, how did that guy get open?
Yep.
That's what Gus. If you look at Gus's career, um, Gus Malzahn, the first game, his first big game, if it's like an FCS opponent, he doesn't. But anytime he's had like a big game against a big time right, big matchup, you're going to see some weird formations, some trick plays. You're going to see some odd things happen that he will never normally do in the rest of the season, except for maybe one or two other games,
And there'll be
because he
some guy
knows
wide open.
I have watched Gus for a long time. Love him or hate him, man, what he does really well is in big time games scheme some random shit open. And be honest with you, even the games he's lost against other big time teams that are ranked above him or even close by, it's usually lost in like the third and fourth quarters when things
Yeah,
settle down.
they just can't keep up.
But he gets people out to got you there all the time in first and second quarters, and he
Hmm.
does the little, he always does the one arm fist pump.
Hey, we know
Those
all about
glasses are
that.
down. He's got the Jimbo going on. The glasses down, the visor up, you
Hmm.
know. And my man can call some first game of the year big plays, and so this sets up with Tommy Castello's that personality, that skill set to, yeah, we don't really know what to expect that first game as a whole, but I think we know Gus will literally run any play that he think potentially could be successful. He's not going to be like, well, this is the offense and here's how we need to.
Yeah, and
No,
we're going to set this up for later in the year. No,
yeah,
that first game is super important. If you win it, it is a launching pad. If you lose it, it's not the end of the world, but it is a kick to the Jimmy, right? If you lose that game.
especially if you get blown out. I think if it's competitive, we'll
But
walk
if
out of
you
there like,
but if you win it, but if you win it, think about the trajectory of confidence, of fandom, of excitement. I mean, you see how starved this fan base is for anything positive. The last 7 days, just from the recruiting, and these kids haven't even signed. They just committed. Think about, if you end up winning that game, what that night is going to be like, and the following weeks after that. Because after Bama, you've got East Texas A&M, then you've got Kent State. So there's a lot of fine tuning that can go on during those games. Um, Virginia, probably not going to be a great team this season.
yeah.
And then, you beat Bama, you're probably going into Miami 4-0.
And just you told me to imagine that head into that Saturday 4-0 against the Hurricanes, who will probably come in with a lot of bravado and belief that they're going to win an ACC title for the first time ever. And maybe we can be the first one to knock them off their horses. Now, what I will get bravado about, and I don't know if it's possible, Vince, we got 3 minutes, just over 3 minutes, guys. All of you watching at home and in the chat, I'm getting a little worried. I don't think we're going to hit the 25 tonight, Vince. I think.
No. But that's okay, right?
But if we don't hit it, it's fine.
But I want to give away 5 memberships. I really do.
I want to challenge it, and we need to do a members only show, Vince.
Yeah, well, you were sick last week, and
I was. Man, when I tell you, like, I couldn't breathe, I hate that. It's the worst. If I could sacrifice, like, ice cream the rest of my life, but you tell me I never, ever have a cold again, I would do it, even if I love ice cream, in a heartbeat.
Let's throw some comments up, Ryan.
Yeah. I want to put one up I saw. Where's okay. Cody
go
Johnson.
Back a little bit.
Ryan, off-topic question. You started with the Noles and NCAA 26 or working up to it. First of all, I appreciate you still calling it NCAA 26. I will forever call that as well.
Yep.
But absolutely, every game that I've ever bought in the college football franchise, I start 2 dynasties. One with the Noles and one with a no-name program.
Yeah. Like Miami?
Yeah, like last year, I did Florida State and USF last year, Vince.
Yeah.
And it's just fun because one's, much harder and 1 year quicker build. Now this year is going to be a little tougher. That first season, now the Gaten Dynasty is going to be a little tougher because they're starting us with like an 80-something overall, which is it's struggling. But let's go back a little bit.
Let's go. Island Boy, TC is the man.
Oh, you got...
Oh, you
I
went
wanted
back
to answer
farther.
your question to earlier. He answered your question, Vince.
Oh, it was in the afternoon and no one was on board. We do want to go deep sea fishing, but this was a quick. Oh yeah, so excellent. I'll tell you what, Bob's 410. If you do this, make sure you tell them Garnet and Old sent you, and that'll be maybe the first time that will happen to Captain John Black.
Cody Johnson writes, "We need an alpha on the team." And I think William McMillan kind of echoes that statement. He writes, TC will be the reason why we beat Alabama and Miami. Okay, well, listen, I'll take one out of this. I would love the 2, but I'll take one out of the 2.
Island Boy likes it too. TC is the man. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Wait, what? It says, by the way, game day is not yes. We do know that they're not coming to Tally. However, we don't care because Vince and I have already, as of a season ago, stopped watching game day.
I haven't watched, and this is the honest to God truth, I haven't watched game day since the snub. So that's just me. Now, if Lee Corso was coming, I would watch it. If they were going to do it from Tally, I would watch it. But other than that, just not going to do it.
Yeah, and I would text you last year because I was doing just Big Ten kickoff because I'm feeling that's where we're going to end up.
I didn't mind the quote about Bama as much as I minded him throwing his BC teammates under the bus. Yeah, I mean, he didn't. It was pretty obvious that there wasn't a lot of love there.
Yeah.
Which is not good, and it's not good in a lot of ways. But I look at it in terms of the Florida State side. Like, if things don't go well, how is that going to play out with him?
For sure. No, that's always a risk anytime you bring it to transfer because how bought in are they really? But, I mean, I don't agree that he should have said it. So don't get me wrong here. But I watched some BC games, and I don't disagree with his sentiment that most of the games that I saw them be competitive in, it was 70% him. They were not that good.
Zoe Zucci, TC gave us the jump start we needed as a fan base. I'm pretty sure his teammates are on. I'm pretty sure they're on board too. I mean, most of those guys, confidence is not a problem. They just, when you got to have someone leading the charge, and it's good when it's the quarterback. What else we got?
I want to put this up. KC Florida also has 6 losing seasons in 8 years. I don't know why you act like you're an elite program. So
who's
Casey,
he talking to? Okay. He's okay. So he's a hater. I got you. Okay. So hold on. You need to put his first comment up first.
Oh, I didn't see it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and, because we allow the haters to be part of the show. It's okay. Let me get rid of Captain Black's logo here. And Bama will stomp FSU by 50. I think this is in response to someone saying that Notre Dame was going to beat the Canes, which I think they are. Miami's coming off a 10-win season and has improved wins every year under Mario. Your coach has more losing seasons than he does winning, including 2 wins. All of those things that you've said, other than Bama, let's see, Bama stopping FSU by 50 is not a fact. Miami is coming off a 10-win season. That's a fact, and has improved wins every year under Mario. That is also factual. Your coach has more losing seasons than he does winning, including 2 wins. That is also factual. But context matters, KC Florida, KCFL. And if we were just going to spit facts out, I could also spit facts out that, Miami hasn't done anything since the early 2000s. I mean, nada, zilch, nothing. They haven't done anything. That's a fact. But that doesn't mean they won't be good this year.
Yeah, and the best they were able to do with all those draft picks and the number 1 overall draft pick. When Florida State had the number 1 overall draft pick, we went undefeated and won a national championship in 2013 with Jameis Winston. But with Cam Ward and all those draft picks on the Miami roster, they did not even make the ACC championship game.
No, and his coaching is suspect. Let's just say that. So, and that's a fact, by the way. Mario's game day coaching is suspect. That is a fact. We have proven facts for that.
We'll take a knee on this question.
That is not trolling either. So, but we thank you, by the way, KCFL, for watching the show tonight, and invite all your friends to watch as well. We would love to have them.
Yeah, haters' views are still views on our channel, so appreciate it.
I love it too, by the way. And as long as you're not disrespectful,
Vince,
I'm okay with it.
When was the last time you went on YouTube and hopped in University of Florida's live, some local podcast live? When's the last time you did that, Vince?
Man, I don't think I've done that for a really long time. But it's not that I wouldn't. I mean,
yeah,
I will go and watch a show, but I'm not commenting there to rile feathers, right? That's not my MO.
Oh, so we have the clear sign of we do have a Miami fan here. If you compare Mike's first 3 years to Mario's first 3 years, all that really matters usually is championships. And Mike has an ACC championship, and Mario does not.
He does. He also wins recruiting, everything. Mario didn't win recruiting today, did he? That's a fact.
Yeah.
That Mario lost recruiting today. So
yeah, try winning a ACC championship, and then maybe we'll be on the even plane with you. That'd be fun.
And but we can go back and forth with all that, forever, because I've got plenty of memories of plenty of stuff to talk about when it comes to the Canes.
Yeah, they are a delight to fan. Their fandom when they come to town, so polite. And their fans who pop on our show are also just the best human beings ever. But guys, it is time to say goodnight. But here's where I want to remind everyone. We're less than 2 months away from college football starting. That's a good sign. That's good news. That's a fun feeling, Vince. That we know we're going to be watching college football in the very near future. In fact, I always say this, Vince. I think I told you this last year. Something about July 4th. Once you get done with that July 4th holiday, you come in and it's like, oh, here we go. We got fall camp. And we're one of the early games. We're week 0, which in the future will be week 1. Like week 0 is going to become week 1, apparently.
Yeah.
But we're week 0, so it's like even less of an internal, I mean, usually the way Labor Day plays out is that Labor Day is like on the 3rd, September 3rd. But the way the week worked out, it feels like a week 0 game.
Yeah, because it's on the 1st.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're getting...
I need it, though.
Yeah, I don't want to wish the summer away. My wife would not be happy about that because she is a teacher and she's enjoying her time off. So I'm not going to wish wish the summer away, but man, I can start feeling the momentum going toward the season, and we got a lot of stuff planned, Ryan, for the show and for some live events that we're going to do in Tally, as well as for away games here in Jacksonville. We got a lot of stuff planned. So, Cody brings up a good point. If you guys haven't hit the thumbs up, please do that before you leave. And I'm just so excited about what has been transpiring here in Knoll fandom here in the last week.
I agree. Breeze, patting him on the head. We appreciate you guys coming on, even the other fans. We appreciate all you've done for the Garden Ultra to get us where we are now, Vince. Just 4 or 5 years ago, we were at like 1 view a week, 2 views a week.
And I think it was my wife that was watching the show.
Yeah, and here we are. We get hundreds and hundreds of views a week, and during the season, thousands. So thank you guys so much for being a fan.
Spread the word.
No inside info, of course. No context, of course. No problem. Screw ESPN eternally. And Vince?
We're going to send Chiefs all the damn time. The marching Chiefs. Send them to every game, every away game. Send them overseas. Send them on a cruise ship. Send them wherever you're having some Knoll fun. The Chiefs should be there.
Go Knowles, everyone, and have a great weekend.
Go Knowles.
Peace.